Find out the many ways that Dr. Juan Jordan, MD, Charles Brooks, NP, and case manager Mark Shaw have brought the family medicine practice to a new level. Hear from the very people that benefit from the fine work they have done in this field. Next Generation MD, every first and third Thursday at 10 a.m. here on WOCA 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 24 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. If you're a regular listener, you hear us talking to a lot of authors who have won competitions in the science fiction genre, and right now there's probably no more focal point for science fiction than up in Atlanta at the DragonCon, which I think today is the last day of this. And our go-to guy when it comes to connecting with some of those great authors and illustrators that we speak to is John Goodwin. He's the president and publisher of Galaxy Press. You might remember John from Christmas time. He's also our go-to guy for the Hollywood Christmas Parade.
Yeah, he's marvelous.
One of these days we're going to stand on the sidelines and check that one out. So he's up in Atlanta right now. He's not in his home turf. He's in Atlanta, really not too far from us, and he's at the DragonCon event. Good morning, John. How you doing?
Good morning, Larry. I'm doing great. It's definitely a different environment here in Atlanta with the DragonCon happening. That's for sure.
Was it a work trip for you, or was it a pleasure trip? What or both?
It remains a work trip for me. 4 day. Today's the fourth day, and it's amazing how we do a lot of conventions, and DragonCon is probably the best in terms of readers. As we've talked about before already, we released earlier this summer Battlefield by Owen Hubbard, and it's a big book. It's like 1,000 pages long.
Right.
And it's amazing here at DragonCon. The readers prefer the big, thick books, and we had to bring in more books, and we sold out of the Battlefield verse that we bought.
Oh, really?
It will do well.
Oh, really?
It's been great here.
How is the audiobook going?
It's doing really well here as well. Usually it's the book way outsells the audiobook. But it's the audiobook. There's a lot of people that drive around here, and so the idea of having something they can listen to for 47 hours is for them just like a treat and a half that they're just really gravitating to. A lot of people are also Audible subscribers, and so we tell them about it. And we've done a little caper here that's been very, very successful. We have the Battlefield Earth T-shirt that anybody buys the book or the audiobook, they get a free T-shirt. And if they are Audible subscribers, if they just download it in front of us, then we'll give them the T-shirt right on the spot.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's been very, very cool in that. But it's both the book and the audiobook are just doing great because it's DragonCon, so it's heavy science fiction and fantasy. So you've already got an audience that's ready made for this, and it's a bit more of a reader type convention that I've experienced here, at least in the dealer's room. Comic-Con in San Diego is obviously huge, and it's probably a third again as big as DragonCon. But they're a lot more into the movies and the games there in Comic-Con than they are here at DragonCon. So it's just been a real treat.
So John, when you find somebody stops at your booth and is chatting with you, does the conversation arise that is based on the premise of Battlefield Earth? In other words, the alien versus Earth people fighting one another?
It comes up correctly, but it's interesting. There's so many people that I've already heard about by word of mouth because so many readers around here say, "Oh, I've been waiting for this." And we have a lot of people that read it when it first came out that are now anxious for the new edition to be able to read with the extra 50 pages we have in the back of the author notes and whatnot. That we do get into that, but it's kind of like we go into more. It does have the alien thing, but it's Raiders of the Lost Ark type of that type of adventure that happens there with you know. But you've also got the Star Wars and the intergalacticness of that. So it's a lot of the combination of a lot of things that people will really like. Wow, that's great! But when they find out that this pretty much predated what they consider, oh, yeah, I know about that. No, this is the one that started that trend. So when they find that out, they really, really enjoy it. And so you've got readers from 13 to 60, 70,
wow.
that just really enjoy this story.
Do you have people coming dressed up as like the heroine in the story and the hero and the alien? Have you seen that? Or is it too new?
Well, I have, because we did it. Every year they have the DragonCon parade, and so this year we had Turl, who's the big alien. We made it a special costume, which is just like the Frank Frazetta image. It was made by Tom Spina Designs. They're out of, I think, New York, and they're the ones that do these big bodysuits for Star Wars and whatnot, so they're very lifelike. So we had that, and we had an actor. He's actually an actor. He's been in Goosebumps, but he's also 4-time world champion karate. So he was Turl. And then we had this actress and another person as Christy and Johnny, and they were in the they were in the DragonCon parade.
Oh,
and then
wow.
we had a bagpiper. We had a bagpiper who represented the Scotsman, and it was great. It aired on the CW, and in fact I just watched the clip of it last night. So it was fun. About 38 seconds. Time code starts here and ends there, so I could send that back to the office and say, "Hey, Kay, watch this."
Nice.
It was all exciting, yeah. So a lot of people from the streets as we were walking down recognized Turl and Battlefield Earth, and they were yelling out, "Go Turl!" And,
cool.
yeah, so it was really cool, that kind of recognition that we had.
I have a kind of, I hope it's not too off the wall, but I was just curious. Do you know, did L. Ron Hubbard know or was friends with Robert Heinlein? Did they know each other?
They were best friends. They were best friends.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, and there's a real connection between what you're doing right now and what you're representing right now.
Correct.
Wow.
Absolutely.
And I never made that connection until this morning. We actually have a friend up there at DragonCon. His name is Galen Unold, and he's with Life South Community Blood Center. And we told him that you were coming on, and he said, well, tell him we got some Robert Heinlein pins, and tell him
special pins.
Yeah, some kind of a special pin.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want one, they've got them. I don't know.
I just tell them that Rob and Larry sent me?
Yeah.
At Life South.
His name is Galen. He's at Life South. Do you know where the Life South booth is? Yeah.
I'll go see him.
Yeah. Ask for Galen Unold and tell him, and he'll give you a pin.
Yeah, he was dressed up in the dog costume.
Okay, good. No, what I'm planning on doing is when we get ready to release, which we'll have it going next year, our graphic novel, which will be a series of comics and then released as 3 graphic novels as we complete, because there'll be 21 comics for Battlefield Earth. What I'm trying to set up so that next year at the Blood Drive, we do a special DragonCon edition, which has the letter from Robert Heinlein on the front of the comic book that we give to everybody, because Heinlein wrote this really nice congratulatory letter to Mr. Hubbard after he received the advanced reading copy of Battlefield Earth.
Oh, wow. See,
wow.
I never even put 2 and 2 together until just this morning we were talking about it.
Yeah.
So now we got to get the 2 of you together. I think you'll get along.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Galen is the person that is the coordinator for everything for Life South. He sets it all up and does it all, so he is the guy.
Oh, good. Then I'll definitely run, because I want to set it up for next year that we can do this as part of anybody donates blood, donate a pint of blood, and they'll get a free comic.
Oh, he'll love that.
John, we've take a little break, but don't go away because we want to stay with you. John Goodwin on the phone. We've known, how long have we known? We've never met you, but we've been on the phone with you. It feels like we've met you.
Yes.
And usually we talk to you at Christmas time, but you're the guy to go to for everything about Galaxy Press. So after the break, I want to ask you. I kind of want to ask you right now, but I can't. I have to take a break. But
okay.
I want to ask you if any of the authors that you've promoted have shown up at the DragonCon. We'll take a little break.
Sure, I'll be all ready to answer.
And be right. Where's my button?
Okay, good.
We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Leah Caruso with Strive Rehabilitation, inviting you to join me Thursday at 11 a.m. for Health Matters. Ocala Health and Strive have teamed up to bring you the latest information on good health services available to you right here at home. This vital information will help you make informed decisions about your health. So don't forget to join me here at 11 a.m. Thursday. It's news you can use from Ocala Health, Strive, and your friends here at WOCA.
Looking to put your money to work? Florida Credit Union has a CD special, 25 months for 1.41% APY with a $10,000 minimum. Federally insured by the NCUA, a government agency. These rates effective through September 15th, subject to change at any time. Visit one of Florida Credit Union's convenient locations today or their website, flcu.org, or call 352-237-8222. Don't miss this 25-month CD special. Again, the APY is 1.41%. Act now. Did you know nearly 70% of the people in Ocala want cremation, yet it is amazing how many misconceptions there are. It is probably because we just do not want to talk about it. Often, people think cremation limits their options for burial. Some think that cremated remains cannot be buried. In reality, it is just the opposite. At Highland Memorial Park, they want to give you all the answers to any questions you have now so that you are prepared. Highland has become expert at creating beautiful and unique cremation gardens. They offer everything from simple in-ground urn burial to our air-conditioned Celebration of Life room with its beautiful glass front niches. With the money you save with cremation, you can find a unique spot at Highland that you would never find anywhere else. Call today and see if cremation is right for you. Call 352-369-1020. 352-369-1020. When you set an appointment and both husband and wife tour Highland, they will give you a gift certificate to the Brooklyn Backyard Restaurant. Call Highland 352-369-1020.
Keep up with what's going on in the downtown area with Ocala Downtown Newspaper. Delivering thousands of newspapers to businesses in the downtown area, Ocala Downtown is there to keep you informed. They even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about it. It's simple. For more info, just call Tom's Picks, 352-804-1223, and pick up your copy of the Downtown Ocala newspaper today.
Now read Ocala Downtown Newspaper online.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. On this Labor Day, clouds and sunshine with a thunderstorm or two in the area, the high 84 to 88. It'll end up mainly clear Monday night with a low of 66 in the coolest inland spots, 74 on the coast. For Tuesday, times of sun and clouds, high 86 to 90. For Wednesday, sunshine mixing with clouds, a thunderstorm in parts of the area, the high 86 to 90. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
All right, 12 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. John Goodwin is on the phone. He's up in Atlanta at DragonCon, and he's been there for a while. I'm guessing you're really tired at this point, aren't you, John?
You guessed pretty correctly.
Who was the character that John Travolta played in the Battlefield Earth movie? What was the character?
Turl. He was the big alien security chief.
Oh, okay. But he's got his own face. You can see his own face. I'm looking at the picture right now. He's got lots of.
Yeah. So he has his own thing, and he had the big dreadlocks thing happening there, and the
big dread.
That was obviously they had to do a thing with John Travolta on his, so you could see his face. Whereas in the Frazetta painting, the Man the Endangered Species, which is the book cover now, it's you got his whole mask on. So what you see there is the big mask with the breathe tube coming out from the front and into his chest, and so it's just a whole different creation. You see all the body hair.
Wow.
It's when we created that, we had the image, and then what Tom Speen would do, they start off with a basic bodysuit, and then they send us different samples of hair. Okay, what kind of hair do you want? How to do? Then they sewed the hair into the bodysuit, and then they created the helmet thereby with using clay, molding clay, and they made that, and then they created the hands that you see that they had to make, because none of the stuff existed. The whole thing had to be made from scratch. So it was an amazing. They were so excited because they themselves were such Frazetta fanatics that they really wanted to do justice and pay honor to the artist.
Right.
So
right.
It's an amazing work.
Were you there for that? For the production part, I guess, of the movie?
No, I was. I was around, but I wasn't involved with the movie at all. I was involved heavily with the book and the movie tie-in edition, and with that, we sold in 800,000 copies of the book, and it went really, really well, and we sold a lot of books and made a lot of Battlestar fans from that.
So I meant to ask you after the break, and I almost forgot what I meant to ask you. So here it is. Are you meeting any people at DragonCon who are actually winners of the contest that you guys run?
For sure. I just had dinner last night with Eric Flint. He's one of our judges now. He's written the 1634 series, and which is fantasy, science fiction fantasy type of thing, alternate history.
Uh-huh.
And he's very, very famous author now, but he was a winner, I think, in volume 3 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
We had, we met yesterday, and also with Brandon Sanderson. He never won the contest, but he entered, and he was a finalist, and he became a judge last year. He's a more recent one. He's the author of the Mistborn series. He's probably currently one of the best-selling fantasy authors around, and he's the one that completed the Robert Jordan Wheel of Time series. When Robert Jordan passed away, Brandon finished the last 2 books in the series.
Oh, wow.
And then we have Robert Sawyer, who's referred to as the Dean of Science Fiction in Canada, and he was just recently knighted. He's very, very popular as a science fiction writer. He also entered the contest as a young pup, and was given various critiques, and one of them was a 3-page critique from the then coordinating judge, Algis Budrus. Took those points, changed his short story into a novel, sold and disqualified himself from the contest. Had somebody else come by and says, "Yeah, I was a winner in volume 8, and I got this." And, we'll have that constantly come. People come, "Oh yeah, I won in volume this, I won in volume that." So, yeah, and then there's a lot of our contest judges are here too. Larry Elmore, who's the creator of all the artwork, the cover artwork for Dungeons and Dragons, which is a very, very popular game. There's Echo Chernick, who's our new coordinating judge. She lives in Washington State, but she travels all over the place, and she spent a lot of. She's just a very, very famous artist that does a lot of projects for a lot of big brands. And who else did we meet with? Kevin Anderson, he's another person who used to enter the contest constantly as a youngin, and then just got better and better and disqualified himself from the contest. But he's been a judge for 20+ years.
Wow.
And Mike Resnick is the winningest science fiction short story author around. He's a judge. So we have a lot of people connected with the contest that are here.
The idea of science fiction incorporating extraterrestrial conversations, whether it's about space itself or beings in space, it always goes hand in hand, even though science fiction could easily take place right here on planet Earth and never have to leave our planet, but it always seems to do that. And so I wanted to ask you something about the guys who studied outer space, like Carl Sagan, for example. Was Carl Sagan or guys like him, are they science fiction fans as much as they are science fans?
Yes, they are, and this is one of the things too. Like in the especially earlier in post Golden Age of science fiction, you have a lot of the science fiction authors were themselves scientists at their day jobs. So for them, science fiction was that, like what Mr. Hubbard calls, is the herald of possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a whole treatise on that in the introduction to his book Battlefield Earth. That there's a very tight relationship, and I've encountered this, like the spacesuit, or that not the spacesuit, the flight suits that they use in jet fighters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those were designed by Robert Heinlein.
Really?
Wow.
He came up with those designs. So you've got these science fiction authors who have they create these mock-ups, of how things could be, and then scientists will take that and say, I wonder if I can make that actually reality. And
that's amazing, yeah.
And so there's a very, very tight relationship between science fiction and science fact, and obviously if it already exists, it's no longer science fiction. But even as like Mr. Hubbard talked about, in an interview you did in 1983. One of these days, there'll still be books, but you'll have these devices that you can hold in your hand that you can read multiple books on. And that was the way he described. There's the Kindle.
Yeah, sure is. Yeah. Well,
decades before it became a reality. Yeah.
Somebody said the word imagine. It looks like I am a genie, and I know you've heard that before. And it really is true. It really is true that what we can imagine is the potential for reality.
That's right.
It's not always good, but people don't always use their imaginations for good. But imagination is what makes everything. This microphone I'm talking on, somebody imagined it at one point, right?
Yeah, and that's why I think that's probably one of the main reasons why Mr. Hubbard created the Writers of the Future contest, is to keep that genre specifically alive, because he saw that as the herald of possibility. As long as you have somebody continuing that, and the artist, they're the ones that are constantly creating the future. So if you have somebody that are constantly envisioning a future, and with Writers of the Future, we take all types of science fiction and fantasy, alternate history, but we don't get into this. We don't get into the heavy horror stuff, and it's not that everything is goody, but the idea is that you want to have some type of a future that has survival with the race. Yeah. And so future survival with the race quite often involves going off planet, and so that's where you see a lot of science fiction going off planet. And of course, the idea, we work with Jim Mars, who was on your show once, with his book Alien Agenda, but he has basically look at, with all the billions of galaxies out there and the billions of stars in each galaxy, to think that, the Creator put us here just so we have something nice to look at night is pretty egocentric on our part, and it's just very silly to think, that we're the only ones here.
Yeah, there was we were talking this morning. We had Robin and I had a criticism, and I'm going to tell you about this only to kind of bring it back to what we're talking about. The criticism was about an old interview we did maybe 3 years ago. We were talking to somebody who was talking about the genocide of the indigenous peoples of America and how we were sympathizing with that whole thing. And so they criticized us for being, what do you call us, bleeding heart liberals, and white apologists.
That's right.
And I said, you know what? But how can you ignore the fact that really happened? I don't know that I'm apologizing. Maybe we should, but I don't know. But I thought the same thing is, what if we do find another planet? Like there was a story a couple weeks ago about a planet they said could possibly contain life in the next constellation or whatever, is like Alpha Centauri or something like that.
Right.
And I said, well, I hope that if we go there and there are people there, we respect them. I hope we don't obliterate them too.
Yeah, like we did the Native Americans.
But if you do the more of the, I was saying that, but if you take a look at if you just study the Native American history, how they were with each other when they came over, they were pretty, their mores and their rules of engagement was pretty tooth and claw as well on what they did. It was, and you take a look at on Earth, what do we do when, as you get more and more advanced as a society, do we get more benevolent? I haven't observed that.
Right. Yeah. And so we have to protect ourselves. So if there is a Battlefield Earth scenario one day, gosh, are we going to be the ones losing or the ones winning? Who knows?
I want to win.
Well, if they're able to come here, there's a good possibility that we'll be the American Indians.
Yes.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Which is the premise of Battlefield Earth. It's like
yes.
And so we sent out Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 just hit deep space this year. So with both of them out there with maps on the gold disc, and the premise of the story is that it's one of the rarest and most valuable metals in the galaxy. We're out of time?
Yes, we're up against the clock. Go to galaxypress.com and go down and see our friend from Life South and his name
Galen.
Galen, yes.
I definitely will. And everybody else listening, Battlefield Earth by L. Ron Hubbard. It's an amazing book and audiobook. If you haven't listened to it, get it. If you haven't read it, buy it and read it. They really are an amazing tour de force.
Very, very good. John, have fun up there. Be careful, and we'll talk to you later. This is The Source, WOCA.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. President Obama and Russia's President Putin say they're close to working out a viable ceasefire plan for Syria.
We haven't yet closed the gaps in a way where we think it would actually work.
The president at the G20 summit in China, breaking up other topics too.
The president said the U.S. has had problems with cyber intrusion by Russia and other nations, and that needs to stop. He says the internet will become the wild, wild west if nations hack.